26C, Charles, Ambulance 263, Ambulance Extra Manpower, 253 East Camden Lane, Round Lake Beach, near Silver Oaks Drive, time out, 1341. District 26C, Charles, Battalion 26, Ambulance Extra Manpower, 253 East Camden Lane, Round Lake Beach, near Silver Oaks Drive, time out, 1341.
Round Lake units are out to Camden. We need you to stage. We have 3 possible not breathing patients. Please stage for PD.
Lake County Special Attention, Round Lake Beach area, Wakanda area units, wanted homicide. Experience Lake County is for number 262, wanted homicide at 253 East Camden Lane and Round Lake Beach at 1340 hours. Wanted as a red 2010 Nissan Maxima. Wanted as a 2010 red Nissan Maxima, Illinois 28 of R. Robert 88619. Illinois 28 of R. Robert 88619. Correction. R. Robert 886194. Robert 886194. Wanted as a Jason Karels. 42287, a male white, 65285, blonde and blue. Wanted as offender is a Jason Karels. 42287, male white, 65285, blonde and blue. Subject was possibly en route to 1 North Shore Drive in Wakanda. Subject was possibly en route to 1 North Shore Drive in Wakanda. Complaints will be sent Round Lake Beach unit number 9272, Lake County Sheriff Police, case A958.
5700 Adams, District Chicago.
5700 Adams, State Police, District Chicago, go ahead.
Someone can LPR here for 115th and I-57 going southbound. It's for a 2010 Nissan Maxima, black and red in color. Robert 86194, felony vehicle, wanted on a homicide.
10-4, 57 southbound 115. Is this vehicle stationary?
Where's that vehicle on 57?
57 southbound 115. 5700 Adam, is this vehicle still moving?
10-4 squad, it's in lane 2.
10-4, lane 2. PH2, State Police District, Chicago. Police helicopter, State Police District, Chicago. Request.
PH2 on Isbridgeville.
We need you guys. 57 southbound 115, 57 south 115. There's a vehicle wanted for homicide. It's a red over black 2010 Nissan Maxima, Robert 886194. Subject's wanted for homicide.
Copy that. We're inbound right now. The vehicle's actually maroon in color. Anybody gets eyes on, reach out.
For the maroon colored 2010 Nissan Porter.
Coming up to maybe Burr Oak. Stand by.
Peach, what's the location?
PH2, continuing southbound 57. I believe coming up to Burr Oak. Stand by. We're coming up to, we're going to be going over the canal in a second here.
Or you have eyes on the vehicle?
Affirmative.
H2 has eyes of the vehicle. 57 southbound approaching Burr Oak over the canal.
900, 157 with him.
Posen, what? Re-identify your number.
Yeah, you too.
I'm in. 900, over 294 with him.
57 southbound over I-294. Vehicles wanted for homicide. Maroon 2010 Nissan Maxima.
Chicago, South no information.
71 gun.
Myself and 57 are right behind them. Our lights are off. Any other units, if we have them reach for long guns, we don't know if this guy's have his weapons other than a knife. We probably can't get to our long guns right away. So anybody else have their long guns ready?
State Unit Charles 71 advised reach for the long guns unknown if the subject has any other weapons. State Unit Charles 71, Charles 57 behind the vehicle.
He has already killed 4 people.
Subject has murdered four people.
Chicago Charles 119. Where's Charles 71 and 57 following that car?
Charles 57 location.
159 right now. He did not exit. 159. 57 southbound. We're going to be on the main line at 159.
Southbound approaching 159 on the main line.
State Police District Chicago, promoting Unit 710 on Eastburn.
The 710 State Police District, Chicago.
Moni has 2 units, one being a K9, I-57 southbound, Moni, Manhattan. I-57 southbound, Moni, Manhattan.
Moni 710 advising Moni K9 stationary southbound Moni, Manhattan. Unit behind the vehicle, re-identify, you cut out.
Charles 22, Charles 22.
22 is behind the vehicle.
Chicago 21 K92 attached me. Also standing by on Stunkel Road at 57.
21 K92, tough one.
We're not going to activate a traffic stop. We don't need to until we get a K9. He didn't murder people with a knife. We are going to need a K9 and immediately accessible to deploy.
Marshal Unit 167 is staged.
K92 is direct.
Markham unit, re-identify your number and where are you? Markham, re-identify your number and where are you? Stationary.
Markham Unit 173 is stationary at 67 and I-57 with a K9.
Markham 173, southbound 167, stationary with K9.
We're going to be passing 167 shortly, Chicago. We are approaching 167 in the main line. The speed is only 55 miles an hour. We're in the right lane of traffic. Traffic is normal conditions.
Traffic flowing normally. Right lane southbound approaching 167, 55 miles an hour.
We are approaching the 2 units at 167. We're going to be attempting a traffic stop as soon as we meet up with these guys.
Attempting a traffic stop as soon as we meet up with the other units.
7, I'm going to light them up here.
57 lighting up.
7 vehicles not stopping, permission to pit.
Charles 57 requesting permission to pit.
57 vehicles taking off.
Yes, 10-4. I'm picking.
Southbound 57 from 167.
57 southbound 167 vehicle taking off.
From operations, pit approved.
I-80 east, got open road here in front of them.
Operations advised permission to pit. PH2 location.
80 westbound, 80 westbound. He's going to be getting off on 80 westbound.
57 south to 80 west.
57, PH2 is going to have to call this.
PH2 call the location.
Stand by. He's continuing going here. Stand by. He's coming up to 183rd, 183rd.
80 west approaching 183.
Passing 183 now.
Passing 183. Speed?
We're unable to determine. Passing Ridgeland, continuing. He's in lane number 1 now.
Passing Ridgeland, lane 1.
PH2, be advised, subject may be outrunning us.
Subject may be outrunning units.
57, where's he at?
Westbound passing Ridgeland, lane 1.
Subject is on the inside shoulder. Subject's on the inside shoulder here. Passing Harlem now.
Westbound passing Harlem, inside shoulder.
Continuing westbound, still on the inside shoulder.
Westbound, continuing, inside shoulder. Pontiac State Police District, Chicago, and Eastern information.
Subject now on the outside shoulder.
For location?
Coming up to LaGrange, I believe,
Side shoulder, westbound approaching LaGrange. Any State Police District 5 units in the area?
State car 541 and 540R at the 145.
541, what other unit?
540.
40 and 541, milepost 145.
Trooper in the turnaround. He's about to come up to you. Now. Inside shoulder, trooper at the turnaround.
Inside shoulder, near the turnaround.
State car 41 and 40 are behind him.
541 has eyes on the vehicle. Be advised, pit maneuver has been permitted, allowed.
On the outside shoulder now,
Side shoulder.
Scott, South 1. Round Lake did advise that he has cut himself multiple times.
Round Lake Beach is advising subject has cut himself multiple times.
Inside shoulder now,
Side shoulder.
Middle lane, moving to outside.
Middle lane, moving outside.
Inside shoulder now.
Side shoulder. Location?
Going to 142 and a half.
142 and a half. Westbound 142 and a half. PH2 location?
I'm trying to ascertain that now. Stand by. I'll get it to you as soon as I could.
41 passing Parker. He's approaching Parker.
Westbound approaching Parker.
Under Parker now. He's now west of Parker. Inside shoulder.
Side shoulder west of Parker.
41 coming up on 355. Looks like he's going to continue west on 80.
Approaching 355, continuing on I-80.
So we're westbound passing Cedar. Westbound passing Cedar. Speed's 120.
120, speed westbound passing Cedar.
Subject's now on the outside shoulder, coming around the curve, coming around that left curve. Passing Francisco Road.
Passing.
Back to standby. He's using all the lanes.
Vehicle using all lanes outside left curve, passing Francisco.
41, we're passing Route 30 now. Looks like we're going to continue west. Continuing westbound from Route 30.
Westbound passing Route 30.
Coming up on Gower. Coming up on Gower, continuing west.
Westbound approaching Gower.
Inside shoulder, inside shoulder.
Side shoulder. 541, 1020.
For him, a few cars back from him. We don't have much shoulder through here due to construction.
In the construction area.
Approaching Cherry Hill.
Approaching Cherry Hill.
Outside shoulder now, outside shoulder.
Side shoulder.
Hill now. Just past the trooper in the turnaround.
Passing trooper in the turnaround.
I'm coming up on Briggs. Coming up on Briggs.
Approaching Briggs.
Back on inside. Lane number 1 now. We stuck in a little bit of traffic here.
Side lane, stuck in traffic.
Westbound from Briggs. Westbound from Briggs.
Westbound from Briggs.
Up on Rowell. Coming up on Rowell. He doesn't have a shoulder at Rowell.
Outside shoulder. Back in lane 1.
Back in lane 1. Is that Rowling?
Over Rowell now, approaching Richards.
Westbound approaching Richards.
Get on 3, I'm stationary at center.
X18 stationary where?
Stationary Center Street, K9 3.
X18 stationary westbound center with K92.
For him, we're westbound passing Richards. Westbound passing Richards.
Westbound passing Richards.
I'm right on him now. He's caught up in traffic.
541 on him, caught in traffic.
Just hit him if you can, if it's under the speed. Hit him immediately.
Pin him in.
Westbound past Chicago, speed 85.
Passing Chicago, 85 miles.
1050.
1050.
Water Street, and Duncan. Water Street, Duncan. He's on the shoulder here, stop.
The Street and Duncan vehicle stop.
We get some local units, Duncan and Water.
We need local units at Water Street and Duncan. Water Street and Duncan. Subjects wanted for homicide.
80 westbound at Des Plaines River. 80 westbound at Des Plaines River. Vehicle rolled over off the right side of the ditch. Send fire.
10-4 westbound Des Plaines rolled into the ditch, right side ditch.
Chicago, the subject still inside the vehicle.
Subject is still inside the vehicle that rolled over, right side ditch, westbound Des Plaines.
Any local units responding to Water and Duncan, advise them that the subject may be armed.
Local units respond to Water Street and Duncan. Water Street and Duncan, be advised, the subject possibly armed, wanted for homicide.
State car, Charles 189, in Rochester.
Charles 189, 10-4. Any other unit en route advised?
Chicago, Charles 71, 1023, on the outside, Blizzard Shield.
State unit Charles 71 on scene with shield.
Chicago, Charles 22. Have fire come to the intersection of Water and Duncan. Water Street and Duncan.
10-4.
State car, Charles 59, I'm around.
Unit Charles 59, 10-4.
Tell fire, do not come down off of 80. They won't have to get down. Do not come off of 80.
Do not come off of 80 for fire. Charles 71, go ahead.
Trying to locate Charles 57.
Charles 57 location.
Charles 57, wherever PH2 called out the crash, that's our location. I have no clue right now. Chicago 541.
541, go ahead.
Duncan and Water Street in Joliet. Duncan and Water Street. He crashed 80 westbound, just west Chicago.
Vehicle crashed 80 westbound west Chicago, Water Street and Duncan. Vehicles in the water at Water Street and Duncan.
Well, we just need fire at this point. All our agencies can 22.
Eastern Units, District Chicago, per State Unit 541. All units can disregard suspect in custody, waiting for EMS to arrive. westbound west of Chicago, 80 westbound west of Chicago at Duncan and Water Street. No further units needed.
CH2, the vehicle is about 100 to 200 feet north of I-80. We're in between the canal and Chicago Street, about midway.
Vehicles in the water ditch north of I-80 between Canal and Chicago. North of I-80 between Canal and Chicago Street.
And for clarification, the vehicle's not in the water, it's in the trees.
Clarification, vehicle's not in the water, it's in the trees. Vehicle's in the trees.
Good afternoon. My name is Wayne Wilde, W-A-Y-N-E-W-I-L-D-E. I'm the Deputy Chief of Operations here at the Round Lake Beach Police Department. I want to thank all of you for coming here today. Unfortunately, it's for the grim news that we are about to release. In that regard, I would like to give our heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of the victims. I cannot fathom the pain this family is going through right now, and I want to make it known that all the resources of the village of Round Lake Beach is available to the family members as they cope with this tragic loss we will describe. Here's how the press conference will be laid out. I will introduce Round Lake Beach Police Chief Gilbert Rivera, that's Gilbertrivera, who will go over the details of what transpired in the 200 block of E Camden Ln yesterday, and the incident on I-80 in Joliet yesterday afternoon. We will then introduce a spokesperson from the Lake County Coroner's Office to discuss their findings, and then a representative from the Lake County State's Attorney's Office. At the end, we will be available for some questions. However, you have to understand, this remains an active investigation still at this time across multiple departments, across multiple counties, so there are some details we are unable to release. I will now turn this over to Chief Rivera for his comments. Thank you.
Thank you all for attending, and I'd like to thank all the brave men and women of our police department here in Round Lake Beach and all the assisting agencies throughout the state that helped in this very difficult case. I also like to thank the community for being patient and allowing us to do our investigation as we do continue to do the investigation. Round Lake Beach police were called to a home in the 200 block of Camden Ln for a well-being check at 1:40 p.m. Monday by a mother who was supposed to pick up her children from her estranged husband. Upon arrival, the three children, ages 5, 3, and 2, were discovered deceased in the home. The resident, later identified as Jason E. Karels, 35 of the 200 block of East Camden Ln, was missing from the scene and immediately identified as a person of interest. Officers immediately put out recognizing information through Illinois State Police Emergency Radio Network, seeking Karels and his vehicle, a red 2010 Nissan Maxima. Simultaneously, police began the investigation into the deaths of the three young children, requested assistance from the Lake County Coroner's Office, and evidence technicians from the Lake County Major Crime Task Force. While the investigation into the deceased children was being conducted, Illinois State Police spotted that attempted to stop the suspicious 2010 Nissan on Interstate 57 and 115th Street in Cook County that was identified to be the vehicle missing from the Round Lake Beach homicide investigation. This resulted in a 17-minute high-speed chase across multiple highways involving multiple police departments that came to an end when the vehicle crashed into extremely wooded area near Interstate 80 at Water Street in Joliet. Officers at the scene immediately identified the driver as Karels and took him into custody. While being extricated after the crash, Karels made statements to police officers involved in the chase and wearing body-worn camera, indicating he was responsible for the death of the children at the Round Lake Beach home. He also said he attempted to commit suicide several times after the death of the children, but was unsuccessful during these attempts. After being extricated from the vehicle by firefighters, Karels was transported with injuries to a nearby hospital before being transported again to another hospital where he remained in custody overnight. Based on the evidence, and statements captured by police via a body-worn camera, the Lake County State's Attorney's Office today approved 3 charges of first-degree murder. Karels is currently being transported to Lake County and expected to appear in Lake County Bond Court at some point when able. The Lake County State Sheriff's Office has indicated additional charges could be filed against Karels when the investigation is complete. Round Lake Beach would like to personally thank again the numerous responding agencies for their assistance, including but not limited to Illinois State Police, the Lake County Coroner's Office, the Lake County Major Crime Task Force, the Lake County State's Attorney's Office, the Chicago Police Department 5700 Adam Team, Police Helicopter 2 of the Chicago Police Department, the New Lenox Police Department, and the Joliet Police Department. I'd like to remind you all that this does remain an active and ongoing investigation. Additional details will be released when we are authorized and able to do so at a later date. Any questions? And we do have not just a representative, Chief Deputy Coroner from the Lake County Coroner's Office, we do have Lake County State's Attorney Eric Reinhardt here as well.
I was going to say, Chief, is everyone going to make a statement, or should we just fire questions?
Gentlemen, I would say go ahead and just provide questions, and whoever is responsible to answer them.
Why did he say that, you said he admitted to killing the children? I'm obviously WGN, but my question is, did he give a reason as to why? Or motive?
At this point, since the investigation is going, we're only going to release the fact that he did make a statement to the officer that responded. I just didn't have that on body worn camera right now, but we're still developing this case. This is still fresh, and we are still running leads and completing the investigation. I apologize, but this tape is not working very well.
This is Charlotte Gray with CBS. Did he say how he killed the kids? And these are his kids, right?
Sir, if you'd like to step up.
Good afternoon. Steve Newton, NEWTON, Chief Deputy with the Lake County Coroner's Office. We did conduct autopsies this morning on the 3 children, and I just received word the 3rd one has been completed, and that the preliminary cause of death in all 3 children is consistent with drowning.
Sorry.
Drowning.
Were these his children?
Yes.
And where did he drown them?
At this point in time, I think, with the ongoing investigation, that hasn't been disclosed.
Does he have a history of abusing his children?
At this point, we are unaware of that.
Chief, was this a custody situation? Did he have custody for a while and we were supposed to bring him back over to the mom?
So, as I mentioned in the press release, the kids were actually visiting with him at the time, and the mother was coming to pick them up to take them to a doctor's visit. So he had custody of them at that time.
So do we have names for the children?
Like they shared custody, it was his time to visit with him?
The specifics of their custody arrangement, that I do not have for you at this moment.
Do we know anything about their marriage, how long they were married, when they were divorced, anything like that?
I'm not prepared to release that information just yet.
Do we have names for the children?
The 3 children were Brian, who was age 5, Cassidy, age 3, and Gideon, age 2.
Is it Brian or Bryant?
Bryant.
E-R-Y-A.
Yes.
With the father's last name?
Yes.
And Cassidy. How do you spell Cassidy?
C-A-S-S-I-D-Y.
And Gideon, G-I-D-E-O-N.
Yes.
Can you spell that for the record?
Gideon is G-I-D-E-O-N.
Had the department ever gone to that home for any reason in the past? Was there any history with him and the police?
We do not have any history with that family at this time.
And is that the home that he lived at?
That is the home that he was living in.
Oh.
He took the suicide. How? What did he do?
He had attempted, made several attempts at suicide. I can tell you that without disclosing those at this moment, there was a lot of indications at the scene. There was blood. The blood was not of the children. So there were multiple things that he had done and disclosed. At this point, as I mentioned, it's still ongoing. We will have those details for you, hopefully shortly. But he did make statements as well on body camera as far as wanting to hurt himself.
Does he have a history of mental illness?
We are unaware of that.
When you say there was blood at the scene, excuse me, you mean at the house? Or?
So correct. So at the house, once the police entered the house, there was a significant amount of blood throughout the house. But I want to be very clear that blood was not from the children.
Did the mother not go to the house and instead request the well-being check? Did she have some feeling there may have been something wrong going on?
No, we were advised by the mothers. The mother did respond to the house.
So did she try to get into the house? Nobody answered, so she called the police for help?
I won't get into specifics of it, but the mother did respond to the house and did have some access to the house.
Did she see anything before she called you?
That we will leave for follow-up. We're still putting that together.
So just to be clear, she responded and then she called.
She would have been the first person there.
I'm sorry, and I don't know if somebody caught. Did she enter the house, Chief?
She did enter the house. She is the first responder to the house.
And made the discovery.
And we were the ones notified after. That is correct.
Did she see the bodies of her children?
Yes.
Were those all of their children together, or do they have others?
I am unaware of any other children.
Do you think that he crashed? Do you think that was another suicide attempt, the crash, or was it just a high-speed chase?
I am unaware of whether the high-speed chase is what resulted in the crash or if it was his intent to do so. That is something we're still trying to figure out. Again, we were very thankful and grateful for the expertise and professionalism of the Illinois State Police. They were superb. They did an amazing job. And we are very grateful for their assistance in this matter.
Any drugs or alcohol in the system?
That currently we're unaware of.
You're unaware?
I am unaware of any type of intoxicating compound or any other substance.
Does he have a criminal history?
That I do not have available to me right now.
This has obviously touched the community. This is a horrific story, and now that the details are out even more, it's even worse than I think folks could probably imagine. What would you say to this community that is in mourning right now, that's grieving?
I can tell them that in a situation like this, where it does appear to be potentially domestic motivated from a domestic situation, is to understand that this was an isolated event to this house, that the community at large was not in danger. However, as being one of the officers that responded to the scene and went into the building, I can tell you, as you noticed when I started my briefing, is that we are all touched by this. This is not something that you go to and are unaffected by. We are a very strong community here. They were very patient. Our community was very patient. I know in other communities, sometimes the demand for answers is so quick that you don't even get the investigation completed. But we are lucky to have a relationship with our community that they allowed us to go ahead and pursue the facts and pursue the investigation. I would tell people that definitely when dealing with cases like this, just be aware of your neighbors, of your family members. If they seem like they're hurting, if they seem like they're not acting in the way they normally do, or whatever. I don't know that anything could have stopped this, or if there were any early indications of it. As I mentioned, we were not familiar with this family nor with the house, but I can tell you that we were all deeply affected. And I mentioned earlier, I want to mention again, I have an amazing staff here of officers, and what they saw yesterday is something that no one should have to see. So I will also mention that the department does have wellness and resiliency plans. We do have services that we provide for our officers to make sure that they get the attention that they need when dealing with a case like this as well. Because as you mentioned, sir, everyone is affected in a case like this.
Any indication of how long the children were dead?
At this time, we won't release that at this time.
Chief, can you say where the children's bodies were in the house?
They were in the bedroom.
All three of them in the bedroom?
That is correct.
Steve, any indication that maybe they were drugged beforehand or anything like that, or is that something that you guys are testing?
We'll be completing toxicology tests over the course of the next few weeks, just to rule out anything like that.
Were there any other injuries to them? Bruises?
There were no other substantial injuries.
Was any note of any kind left behind?
I will leave that for future release. Hopefully we'll have a release shortly, perhaps later today. But again, this is a very active investigation. So we're still piecing all that stuff together. We're still working with the Lake County State Attorney's Office as I mentioned, there are 3 charges now, but there can be additional charges added on as well. So as we develop that, we will get the release out immediately.
Do you know how long the kids were at his house with him and the last time Mom saw her children?
Currently, right now, it is our belief that she had dropped them off for the weekend.
I'm sorry?
It is our belief that she had dropped them off for the weekend.
For that Friday.
Like a visitation scenario.
Over the Iceberg alert initially, it stated that the suspect may have been about to addressable conduct. Is there any relation between addressable conduct and this homicide?
There was, I believe, a family member or some other, but it's not involved in this case.
I know you mentioned possible charges, additional charges against this gentleman. Is there anything else you can tell us in terms of the investigation? What's next?
What's next right now is, again, completing all the leads, all the additional folks that we're interviewing, completing the actual medical examination of, as you mentioned, this is just live as the coroner's completing these investigations. We still have to finish coordinating with the Lake County State Attorney's Office as far as what the final charges will be. Have the subject appear in front of bond court. All these things have to be taken into effect. He was, as I mentioned before, he was transported to one hospital, then transported again to a second hospital as well, where he is stable. So we're still, again, piecing it together. We just want to get the information out. As you mentioned earlier, sir, the community is concerned about it, and we want to get as much information, as much accurate information out when we could.
Chief, any idea when he might be discharged from the hospital?
We would expect him to be discharged soon.
Okay.
But again, we will update as soon as we have that information.
Do you have a chance to speak to the children's mother? How is she holding up?
She has her family in support. She has the police department also additionally supporting her. Our chaplains as well are supporting her. It is, I mean, I won't speak on behalf of the mother, but I can tell you that it's unknown what is the actual appropriate response when something like this happens. So our prayers and our hearts and I apologize because I did one else I did speak with the mother. And again, all I can say is that we really support her, and we're going to do our best job for her to make sure that we get this case taken care of.
I see you getting choked up. What are you feeling? Where's that coming from, Chief?
It's just you know the national narrative, and you feel sometimes that people don't understand that this is the majority of what we do, is we respond to calls like this. I understand that the national narrative is not always great, and I understand that a lot of times we are responsible for it, and I get it. I understand. But I hope people understand that these are brothers, sisters, dads, grandparents, nieces and uncles, right, that work and respond to these calls, and they continue to go out there voluntarily. And just as a chief of police, I am so honored to be able to lead them, to be able to be there with them, and to know that when I and my deputy chiefs and my command staff, we all move on, I apologize, when we all move on, that we have other people that are here willing to take over the torch and continue to provide assistance to the community that's greatly needed. So that's why it does become emotional.
Chief, what do you know about the defendant? Did he work somewhere? Or what?
That background information I do not have all put together right now, at least not for a press release.
We have a mugshot for this man?
We will shortly. Once we're able to get him out of the hospital and get him processed, then we will shortly. We will provide that immediately.
Does the mom also live around Lake Beach?
At this time, she was not living in that residence.
No, not there, but in the area.
I will not share her address.
Did the family live in the neighborhood for a while, a year or two?
I wasn't sure how long they were living there at the chief level. I'm sure my staff is aware of that.
About 5 years.
What was the question? I didn't hear that.
How long did the family live in the area? And it suggested 5 years.
Can you tell us the spelling of the defendant, just so that we have that on record?
His spelling, the last name is, first name is Jason, common spelling, middle initial E. Edward, last name is K-A-R, as in Robert, E-L-S. Jason E. Karels.
And to be clear, Jason and that woman, the mother of the children, they were divorced? Were they ever married?
I don't have their specific marital status or relationship status. I believe they're married. I don't know what part of their separation or estrangement they are in.
Right.
But they are estranged.
Right.
They are estranged, and it was a custody situation.
Unless there's anything else, I do have handouts here from everything that the chief discussed available, so I apologize I didn't get them out to you before. I see
Before-
you trying to scribble type.
Deputy Chief, before it's done. State's Attorney Reinhardt.
Good afternoon, everyone. The only thing I'll say is that since yesterday, we've seen the hard work of law enforcement, the smart work of law enforcement, and they literally saved lives all the way from Round Lake Beach all the way to Joliet through their work. We had a suspect that was on the run, a suspect that they didn't know anything about in terms of what his disposition was. The chief spoke about his suicidal tendencies, which makes the situation incredibly dangerous, and the state's attorney's office wants to thank the unbelievable work of dozens, if not hundreds, of law enforcement officers all the way from northern Illinois to the southern suburbs. So I just want to take a moment to thank them. Our office stands with them and also with the family and the friends in this terrible case. Thank you.
Sir, can you say and spell your name?
Sure, of course. Eric Reinhardt, R-I-N-E-H-A-R-T.
And your title, please.
Lake County State's Attorney.
Hey, Eric, will you guys seek a mental health evaluation of this man? Do you think at this point?
I'm not going to comment on that until we're in court. We approved 3 charges, a first degree murder for each of the children. We did that this morning. Thank you. I don't have a comment.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all for showing up.
Okay, are you going to give us a copy of that?
Yep, you want a copy. Thank you all. Yep.